Okay, so here is VERU. This finishes at $14.95 today. That is up 4.55%. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is ATER, Aterian. This finishes at $5.53 today. That is down 2.12%. So we've been discussing this stock for the past few days. Very hot stock on social media right now. And once again, this was number 1 on StockTwits today. I believe it had over 13,000 mentions. So once again, we're going to analyze it. So really no company-specific news to justify this price action. And this did hold up pretty well, I will have to admit, in a bloodbath today. But yeah, it just seems like apes still really like this stock.
We like the stock.
Still a lot of social media sentiment. And the apes are still in here, still trying to squeeze it. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this appears to be a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the low of 210. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 680. And if it is 680, that would be a bearish indicator, because that would mean the cup already topped out and is due for a pullback to form the handle. But it can also be above 680. And anything above 680 would be a bullish indicator, because that would mean the cup is not completed yet. It can also be 835, 1045, 1190, 1420, 1705, or even 1905. Although I do think the most realistic tops would be 680 or 835. So the cup and handle can be bullish or bearish depending on where the top is. But it does appear like in the shorter term, it's starting to look bearish. And in the longer term, it is bullish. We do have this gap down at 850. So that is a bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to 850 eventually to fill this gap. May take a while, but eventually it should. In the aftermarket here, this is running up to 575. So if this holds, that would be a bullish indicator. That is suggesting that Monday, the stock will run to the upside. And then we do have a gap up at 390. So that is a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may come back down to 390 to fill this gap. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now, this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 565 and 510. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 565, 610, 640, 680, 745, $8, 835, 865, 910, 955, 995, and then 1045. There is resistance above 1045, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 510, 460, 410, 355, 305, 255, 210, and then the low of 140. So right now at this current price, 553, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty decently sized. So expect a normal amount of price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks 680 to the upside, the channels start to open up and get pretty wide. So expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 680. RSI is currently at 72, so that is overbought and overvalued, so be careful, guys. And this did 99 million in volume today, way above the average of 8 million. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume, and it does appear like the squeeze is winding down. Still a lot of volume, but that is a pullback from yesterday. So it looks like momentum is cooling off, and the squeeze may be coming to an end here. Although it did look like it was coming to an end before, and then we got some massive volume again. So maybe not, but based on the volume on the chart, it does look like the squeeze is winding down. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So again, this is still definitely in the middle of a short squeeze. Doesn't appear like it's done just yet. Apes are still in here. Number 1 stock right now on social media. But sooner or later, eventually this will have to come back down, as with all short squeezes. And the volume is suggesting that the squeeze is coming to an end. So longer term, it does look like a good stock to buy and hold. Got some strong bullish indicators in the cup and handle and gap down. But in the short term, we are starting to get some pretty bearish indicators in the cup and handle, high RSI, high volume, and gap up. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice. Personally, I would not do that. I think it's a little too late here to go long. Again, a lot of bearish indicators. Again, a lot of bearish indicators in the short term here. This has been squeezing all the way from 210 over a 150% upside already. This may have topped out at 680, where a possible top of the cup is. So while this does have more upside potential, I really don't think it should go too much higher. Maybe it'll go up to 835. That's where the next top is. But there is a pretty good chance it's already topped out at 680. So I think going long here would be FOMO. Thank you, Mr. Chance. So I would say going long here would be a high risk, high reward play. And I say that because if this does run to 835, that is a lot of upside potential and still a lot of money to be made. But like I said, at some point, this will have to come back down, and there is a lot of downside potential. Based on the cup and handle here, if the top is 680 and the bottom is 210, this should pull back down to around 445 because that's halfway between the top and the bottom of the cup. And again, we do have a gap up at 390. So I do think this will pull back somewhere between the 445 to 390 range. So I don't think going long here at this current price, 553, is that great of an idea. If you want to do that, I can support it. Just please do that at your own risk. And please hit the sell button eventually. Get in, get your money, get out. If you're in this for the long term, if you like the stock and you want in diamond hands, I think you should hold off for right now. Again, I do think this will pull back down to the 445 to 390 range. So if you want to hold this for the long term, I think you should hold off and set your buy orders to 445 and lower. Personally, I'd set my buy orders to 390. And if it pulls back below that, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, seems like a pretty decent play. Again, I do think this is due for a pullback down to the 445 to 390 range. And from this current price, 553 down to 390, that would be around a 30% downside. So that is a lot of downside potential. That being said, again, there's still upside risk. This may run up to 835. Really don't think it should go much higher than that. So I would say going short here would be a medium risk, high reward play. Definitely worth a shot. I say medium risk because there is still more upside potential. And I say high reward because there's a lot of downside potential. It's not the best short play in the world, but pretty decent play. So I can support going short at the current price, 553 and higher, as long as you're able to withstand some upside pressure here. And that would cover in the 445 to 390 range for about a 30% downside. So yeah, pretty straightforward, guys. Very popular stock right now on social media, still squeezing, but at some point, sooner or later, it will come to an end. Long term looks like a good stock to buy and hold, but in the short term, still has upside potential. But again, at some point or another, it's going to have to come back down. So if you want to go long, if you want to quick scalp this, please do that at your own risk. If you're in it for the long term, I would hold off, wait for a better price. And if you want to go short, it's a pretty good play. Not the best, but pretty good money to be made here on the downside. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is ATER, Aterian. Okay, so here is VERU. This finishes at $14.95 today. That is up 4.55%. So here's another stock that we've been discussing for the past few days. Was definitely short squeezing. Still appears to be short squeezing. Very popular stock on social media right now. This was number 2 after ATER today. So once again, we're going to analyze it. So no company specific news to justify this price action today. It just seems like this is very social media driven. Apes like it. And also, we got some news a couple days ago that 2 hedge funds, H.C. Wainwright and Oppenheimer, are bullish on this stock. And I am familiar with those hedge funds. They are more on the shady side and tend to manipulate stocks. So I do believe they had a major role in the squeeze here. But yeah, let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this looks like a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the low of 435. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 1710. And if it is 1710, that would currently be a bearish indicator because that means the cup already topped out and is due for a pullback to form the handle. But it can also be above 1710, and anything above 1710 would be a bullish indicator because that would mean the cup is not complete yet. It can also be 2165 or even the high of 2455. So the cup and handle can be bullish or bearish depending on where the top is, but it does appear like in the longer term it's a bullish indicator, and in the short term it does appear to look bearish. This also looks like a possible bull flag in the making. No confirmation just yet, but this looks like a flag pull developing. So all we need is some pullback to form the flag to get some confirmation, and that would be a bullish indicator that would suggest that the stock may break out to the upside. And then we do have a gap up at 455. That is a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may pull back down to 455 to fill this gap. And at this point, it does look pretty unlikely, but it is possible, so be aware of that, guys. And then the aftermarket here, this is running down to 1470, so that is a bearish indicator for Monday. That is suggesting that Monday the stock will sell off. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now, this is sitting on the support of 1495, which it finished at today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 1575, 1710, 2080, 2165, and then the high of 2455. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 1455, 1410, 1370, 1325, 1230, 1130, 1045, and then 995. There is support below 995, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at this current price, 1495, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if slash when this pulls back down to 9.95, the channel starts to narrow. So expect a significant decrease in price action if slash when this breaks 9.95. RSI is currently at 79, so that is very overbought and very overvalued, so be careful, guys. And this did 179 million in volume today. Very significant volume, way above the average of 5 million. Third biggest volume day of the year, so this pump today was confirmed by the volume. Although, it does appear like the volume is coming down. So while this is still in the middle of a short squeeze, the volume coming down would suggest that the squeeze is winding down and may be over soon. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So longer term, this does look like a good stock to buy and hold. Got a pretty strong bullish indicator in the cup and handle here. And the hedge funds did have some pretty big price targets. Oppenheimer thinks it's worth 36, and H.C. Wainwright thinks it's worth 24. In the short term, this may have some more upside to go, but I really don't think it should go too much higher. Again, it does appear like the squeeze is winding down, and we are getting some pretty bearish indicators. So I do think that this is due for a pullback in the short term. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice. Personally, I would not do that. I think it's way too late here to go long. This already went up over 200% from the low of 435. So I think going long here would be FOMO. You'd be buying in at a relative high, and there is a lot of downside potential and a lot of bearish indicators. So I think going long here would be a high risk, low reward play. I don't think there's too much more upside potential, and there is a lot of downside potential. So I really don't think it's worth it here to go long. You missed your chance, and I would just stay away from this at this point, if you want to quick scalp this. Now, if you're in this for the long term, then I think you should hold off for right now and wait for a better price. So I'm not really sure how low this is going to go, but based on the cup and handle here, it should pull back to around 945, because 945 is the middle between the top and bottom of the cup, 1710 and 435. So it should pull back to around 945 to form the handle, and there is the gap up at 455. So it may even come back down to 455. Unlikely, but possible. So I do believe this will pull back down to the 945 to 455 range. Pretty wide range, but there is a lot of downside potential. So from this current price, 14.95 down to 9.45, where I think the handle will form, that is over a 35% downside, almost 40%. So yeah, a lot of downside potential, and it may even go lower than that. And again, if slash when this pulls back down to 9.95, the channel starts to narrow, and the price action should slow down pretty significantly from there. So if you're in this for the long term, I would hold off. I'm not sure how low it's going to go, but I do think anything below 9.95 would be a pretty good entry. So I would support going long at 9.95 and lower. And if it pulls back below 9.95, then you can just average down at these supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, looks like a pretty good play to me. Again, I don't think there's too much upside potential. We are getting some pretty strong bearish indicators in the cup and handle, gap up, high RSI, and high volume. And again, I do think this will pull back down to around 945 to form the handle, possibly even lower, as low as 455 to fill the gap. Again, it looks like there's at least a 35% downside here. So a lot of downside potential, a lot of money to be made here on the downside. I would say going short here would be a low risk, high reward play. Again, because not too much upside potential and a lot of downside potential. So if you want to go short, I would support going short at the current price, 14.95 and higher. And I would cover anywhere below 9.95, where the channel starts to narrow. It should go lower than that, but the price action should slow down pretty significantly after that. So I think your best bet here is to go short and cover at 9.95 and lower if you want, for a relatively easy 35% gain to the downside. So this one isn't that simple, but it looks like long term it's a good stock to buy and hold. In the short term, this may have a little bit more upside to go, but really shouldn't have too much more upside and a lot of downside potential. So I don't think going long here at this current price is a great idea. I would hold off, wait for a pullback, and if you want to go short, looks like a pretty good play to me. Should be able to make some pretty good money here on the downside, and I would cover at 9.95 and lower. So congratulations to everyone who made money in the stock today. Consider taking profits if you're up, not financial advice. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is VERU, VERU. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video. Please subscribe and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.